Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to slow things down just a little bit today and look at a story that completely reshapes how we view the ordinary moments of our daily routines. We're diving into the story of Samuel. Now, Samuel was a janitor at a train station. But he wasn't just a guy who cleaned up after crowds, you know? He was someone who carried a really profound personal philosophy. He believed that absolutely nothing important should ever be left behind. It's a simple idea, right? But as you'll see, it literally has the power to change lives. Just think about it for a second. Every single day, thousands of us rush through train stations. It's a total blur of motion. We carry our bags, sure, but we also carry our dreams, our anxieties, our deepest worries. It's a chaotic environment. But within that rushing crowd, sometimes people leave something behind. It might be a forgotten umbrella or a half-eaten sandwich, but sometimes it's a forgotten letter, a forgotten chance, a forgotten hope. And the emotional weight of those discarded invisible things is exactly where our story begins today. Act 1. The Night Shift and the Ordinary World of Westbridge Central. Okay, let's dive into this. While the station was absolutely bustling with life during the day, Samuel's real mission, his quiet collection of forgotten things, only began after the final train had disappeared into the darkness. When the crowds vanished, his work began. 33. For 33 years, Samuel worked the night shift. That is a massive span of time to spend working in the shadows. For over 3 decades, he swept the platforms, picked up newspapers, returned lost wallets. Most passengers never even noticed him. He was just kind of a fixture of the background. But Samuel, he noticed everything. Everyone else ignored the debris of the day, but Samuel believed that every single object had a story to tell. Well, that brings us to one particular freezing cold evening. As Samuel was doing his usual rounds, he looked beneath an old wooden bench and discovered a plain, white envelope. It wasn't sealed, it wasn't formal. Written across the front was just one single handwritten word: Mom. It is such a simple word, yet it carries so much emotional weight, doesn't it? So, what does this all mean? It brilliantly illustrates a low-stakes mystery with incredibly high emotional stakes. Because when Samuel carefully looked inside, he found that this letter wasn't about business or money or anything like that. It was a heartfelt apology. It was a son desperately seeking to reconnect with his mother after many years apart. But there was a major catch. There was no return address, just a single first name at the very bottom: Daniel. It's a low-stakes mystery on paper, sure, but a high-stakes mystery for the human heart. Samuel quietly folded the letter and vowed to himself that the story simply couldn't end there. Act 2. The Investigation, or rather, refusing to clean away hope. Samuel was on a mission now, and he completely defied his colleagues. When he showed them the letter, most people told him to just throw it away. They told him it was impossible. They insisted nobody would ever find the people involved. But Samuel had spent his entire life cleaning up after people. He absolutely refused to clean away someone else's hope. So he became incredibly methodical. Step 1, he swept the platforms. Step 2, every single evening he checked the station's lost and found office. Step 3, every morning he actively searched for clues. He was persistently looking for the author of that letter, asking station employees for weeks if anyone recognized the handwriting. Put yourself right in Samuel's shoes for a second. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? But then one afternoon, a young violinist is performing near platform 7. Between songs, Samuel happens to glance over, and he notices the musician writing something down. The handwriting on the musician's sheet music was almost identical to the letter. Samuel politely asked about it, and the violinist smiled and said, "Oh, it's my older brother's writing." Samuel's heart must have been racing, because within days, that violinist introduced Samuel to his older brother, Daniel. When they finally met, Daniel just kind of lowered his head and admitted the truth. He was afraid to send the letter. And guys, this is the emotional climax of our story. Samuel didn't judge him. He didn't lecture him at all. He just gently handed the envelope back to the older brother and said, "Some words become heavier the longer we carry them." Wow, it's such a profound realization. Daniel nodded silently, and that very evening, he finally mailed the letter. Trace this ripple in time with me, because the patience required here is amazing. It started on that one cold evening when the letter was found. Then, weeks later, the musician was spotted. 3 weeks after Daniel mailed the letter, Samuel actually found Daniel waiting on the platform, holding a new envelope. His mother had written back. She had forgiven him. And then months later, they reunited after 12 long years apart. An entire family was completely saved because of one man's patience and observation. Act 3. The Wave and the legacy of a small act. Because when Daniel and his mother actually reunited, Daniel hugged Samuel and told him something unforgettable. He said that if Samuel had thrown that letter away, he might have lost his family forever. The impact of that tiny effort was a tidal wave for that family, and that wave spread like wildfire. News of this incredible reunion spread throughout the entire city. It actually inspired the station manager to create a community board right there in the station called the Wall of Hope. And look at how this snowballed. Passengers started pinning their own handwritten messages. Thank you notes, dreams, words of encouragement, apologies, promises. Every single week, people would read these messages before boarding their trains, and so many left with much lighter hearts than when they arrived. The entire community was participating. Fast forward a bit, and after decades of service, Samuel quietly retired. But on his final evening, the station became unusually crowded. Hundreds of former passengers gathered to applaud him. Some remembered a wallet he had returned. Others remembered the patient directions he had given them. Daniel himself stepped forward to say his family existed again because of Samuel. And as the crowd applauded, Samuel wiped away a tear and delivered this incredibly humble realization. I never changed lives. I simply refused to ignore small opportunities. Part 4. The power of small acts and your opportunities. So why does this matter to us today? Let's pivot for a second from Samuel's incredible story straight to your everyday life. Life gives us countless chances to help someone. We are constantly surrounded by the power of small acts, and it's absolutely crucial that we recognize our own opportunities. Most of these chances are small. They're everyday occurrences. Holding a door for someone whose hands are full, returning a dropped phone, listening carefully when someone just needs to be heard, speaking kindly, encouraging a total stranger. These moments, they rarely make the headlines, but never believe your kindness is too small, because to the person receiving it, that small act can entirely transform their future. Which brings me to a direct challenge for you. Are you going to walk past your own ordinary moments? The greatest opportunities to change the world rarely arrive with trumpets and fanfare. They almost always arrive disguised as ordinary routines. Don't walk past them. Don't throw them away. Pick them up. Let this final thought really sink in. Samuel proved that paying attention to what others discard can literally be life-saving. We have to strive to do the same in our own lives, because one forgotten opportunity may become someone else's new beginning. Never throw away a small chance to help. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. If this story inspired you, make sure to subscribe to Gravonix Stories for more original, motivational insights every single week. And please do me a favor, drop down into the comments below and type "Kindness always returns," because as we learned today from Samuel, the smallest act of kindness can travel so much farther than the fastest train. So as you head out into your daily routine tomorrow, whose forgotten hope will you choose to pick up?